Yep. You can, if you had a Eagles offseason bingo card and you had Russell Wilson up there, just throw it out. Russell Wilson got traded. Like today started with, I did not think today would start with me being depressed about the prospect of this Eagles offseason, but here we are. Started with Aaron Rodgers getting big money. Well, that was just like, okay, well, Aaron Rodgers got paid. Sucks for Denver because he's either going to go to Green Bay or go to Denver. Sucks for Denver. And I mean, they could pull. I was like, well, where does Denver go from here? Do they stick with Drew Lock? Do they draft a quarterback at 9? Like Willis, you get Kenny Pickett. Do they? And then people are saying maybe they trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I was like, really? We saw what Jimmy had with the Niners. Like, kind of fizzled out there. Feel like that's his ceiling. That's the best that he's going to give to a team. And then out of nowhere, Denver from the top rope. From the top rope. And this is like, hey, I did a video last week about Russell Wilson replaying his career. Ended up going to Denver. They get Russell Wilson, the Broncos do. And the compensation is in. It is a 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, Drew Lock, which is nothing. Drew Lock sucks. Shelby Harris, so a veteran D-tackle. Noah Fant, fringe top 10-ish tight end, great athlete. 4, Russell Wilson, and a 4th-round pick. That's what Seattle, that's what they gave up. I would have paid that. I did a video talking about the Eagles quarterback situation, and I said ultimately with all the options, it would either be you rock and roll with Jalen Hurts and most likely get burned for another year, or you just go and get Russell Wilson. And I would have paid that for Russell Wilson. Again, you extrapolate what Seattle got in return for Russell Wilson, for what that would cost the Eagles. Eagles would have traded 2 first-round picks this year, still would hold our own. And those 2 first-round picks were essentially what we got for Carson Wentz and what we got trading down from Jalen Waddle to Devontae Smith. 2 second-round picks, nothing. 5th-round pick, swap out Drew Lock with Jalen Hurts, and then you have Shelby Harris, Noah Fant. So I'd be like, hey, we'll throw you Fletcher Cox, and if that's not enough, which it probably is enough, Andre Dillard. There you go. Those are all those things. Give me Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. Now, we're going to go on a little bit of a rant here, a little bit, I'm sure. The way that I'm dealing with this, first and foremost, which you can moot this entire video to a certain degree, but it's how I'm coping with this, is that Russell Wilson just said, I don't want to go to Philadelphia. Like, it was never in the cards. Seattle picked up the phone. Philly had a great offer for Russell Wilson. Howie did everything he could, and Russ said, I do not want to go to Philadelphia. That's how we as a fan base need to treat this. Because anything else, it's just going to be incredibly frustrating and make it tough to root for this team this offseason. So, first things first, I'm just going to act like Russell Wilson wasn't going to come to Philadelphia. Second stage is I absolutely would have paid what the Denver Broncos paid to obtain Russell Wilson. People are thinking that Russell Wilson is washed because he had an injury-prone season last year, didn't look good, played through an injury. He had 40 touchdowns 2 years ago. And I think over the last 5 years, he's arguably been the single most valuable player to his team's success in the NFL. If you took all 32 teams and said, I'm going to pluck away one player from every one of these teams, obviously their best player, which team would drop off the most? Which team would struggle the most? And I don't think there's a single team that would have struggled more than Seattle without Russell Wilson. He is a top 5 quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. Would have been phenomenal in Philadelphia. The fact that I'm saying that, and there's already people going, man, you got to go Hurts again over Russ. Like, you casual. You're a casual. But the deal's done, man. Congrats, Denver. Great team. Didn't have to give up, really. I mean, Noah Fant, that stings a little bit, but you got Albert O. Similar style athlete from that tight end spot. Needs to take another step with his game, but at least you have a prospect that can fill in for Noah Fant, see what he has. Shelby Harris, you're just veteran, more of a locker room than on field, but he's still decent on field. Drew Lock's nothing. You probably want to try to move off of Drew Lock anyways this offseason. You give up 5th and 2 seconds, whatever. 2 first-round picks kind of sting, but you're going to be, with Russ, you're going to be hoping that you're going to be picking late teens, making the playoffs. It's not going to be, top 10 first-round picks that Seattle is receiving on that end. And you kept Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, Patrick, Javonte Williams. Didn't lose anything on offense. Defense is what it is, still a work in progress. Didn't have to give anyone that secondary. I don't think Seattle got fleeced. I assume that it's a situation where Russell Wilson was not going back to Seattle, so they kind of had to make a move. Like, no team got fleeced. This is, appropriate compensation for Russell Wilson, given his age and given the fact that he didn't want to go back to Seattle, apparently. But how this all means, so it's, Seattle, good luck. I don't know if they're going to draft Malik Willis. I don't know if they're going to hedge all these draft picks on the fact that they'll suck next year to get Bryce Young, because as it stands right now, Bryce Young is the only non-NFL quarterback that I think I would take over Russell Wilson at this point. So, I mean, that, it's a rebuild for Seattle. You had your Legion of Boom era. Now it's, hopefully, I guess it sounds like DK could be on the way out next. And if you're Denver, congratulations. Get yourself a franchise quarterback in that absolute dog of a division. You needed one to compete with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and compete with Justin Herbert and the Chargers. And the Raiders are kind of like sitting at the little kids table. But, the Raiders every single time feels like in the NFC West games. AFC West. The Raiders, they're competitive. They'll give you a game. So it's a tough division. Now it's just that much more competitive. So what does that now mean for the Philadelphia Eagles? I feel like I'm going to answer this like you're asking like Dave Spadaro, like the Eagles, like an employed Eagles media person. You got to be excited, I guess. Like assuming Philly would match that offer. Philly is gambling on Jalen Hurts' development and the fact that Howie can hit on all these picks. That should be exciting, right? That should make for an exciting offseason because that means they feel that Jalen Hurts is going to be a completely different quarterback than the not good quarterback that he was last year. And Howie Roseman feels very confident that he's going to nail all these first-round selections. That's exciting. That should be like, wow, let's see what happens. So, is that too delusional? I don't know if that's too delusional or not, but that's kind of what the franchise has told us anyways. That, we didn't want to give up our picks. We didn't want to give up Jalen Hurts. We didn't want to give up, whatever other assets we could, even though, someone like Andre Dillard, you're not picking up his fifth-year option. So let's be excited that what we kept by not making this trade is going to work out for the Philadelphia Eagles, because that's what the franchise is gambling on. Unless, I made, what was this quote tweet here? Let's see if I can find it. I probably should have had this already. It was March 6th. Report. Eagles general manager Howie Roseman sent an investigator to Houston to look into Deshaun Watson's legal situation, per Aaron Wilson NFL. I just made a quote tweet. I'm sure this is nothing. We haven't just been linked with this guy for a year plus now. This time last year. We're repeating history. And then today, let's see, what is this guy? Thomas something. He's an Eagles reporter. Thomas, I don't know. He's some fucking... Joe Banner. He was Howie Roseman before Howie Roseman. He was Andy Reid's Howie Roseman. Joe Banner, who is, is not nobody, not some guy that's necessarily just purely looking for clicks. I still don't know if there's enough smoke to be fired, but when Philly's been linked with Deshaun Watson for this long, maybe, you'd be idiotic to say that there's no smoke there for Deshaun Watson to Philly. But Joe Banner thinks that the Eagles are the most likely landing spot for Deshaun Watson. It's Joe Banner. That's a guy that used to be the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a guy that knows Howie Roseman. That's a guy that absolutely still has contact with Howie Roseman. And Howie Roseman is the kind of guy that likes to manipulate the media. Howie Roseman is the kind of guy that would, leak these things out there just to see what happens and stuff like that. We've seen it time and time again. How many times? Gang ties, even though it was more Chip Kelly. But this is an organization that does stuff like that. Right? Carson Wentz and the media, all that stuff. Wentz and Doug Peterson don't like each other. I'm almost certain that can be circled back around coming from Howie Roseman's office. So, it does seem, honestly, right now, with Russell, that one falling, it's Deshaun Watson or Jalen Hurts next year. I'm not really ready to have that conversation yet. There's still so much uncertainty with Deshaun Watson. And I've been very clear on this channel. You can literally go back and look at Deshaun Watson coming out of Clemson. My thoughts on Deshaun Watson. He was my favorite quarterback in college football. I was a massive Deshaun Watson fan. And then, goes ahead and does, his situation that he got up in. And, I can't comment for better or for worse. It's worse right now because it's still all pending. And I don't want to open that door at all in this video because, no one knows anything, right? Is he actually a psychopath? Is there gold diggers? Those are the two sides. Who knows? Who knows? The fact that it's taken this long just makes it even more like what is going on there. What I know for sure is that for what it's going to cost to get Deshaun Watson, and this is what I said in that quarterback video I recorded last week, For what it's going, Deshaun Watson is different species of quarterback than Jalen Hurts. Not even comparable. Jalen Hurts is a fringe top 20 quarterback in the NFL, talent-wise. Jalen Hurts has a ceiling, sure. But Deshaun Watson, talent-wise, is like a fringe top 5 quarterback in the NFL. It's not even, it's apples and oranges at that point. But for what it would cost, like you could almost assume, especially because it's taken this long, that the 2 firsts, the 2 seconds, the 5th in players that Denver gave up to get Russell Wilson, it's going to look more like that than not if Philadelphia makes a trade for Deshaun Watson. That is a lot of assets to give up for the quarterback is, like, if Deshaun Watson got traded to the Philadelphia Eagles are Deshaun Watson the Philadelphia Eagles. He's the face of the franchise. He's the franchise quarterback, and he's the guy that, the fan base has to get behind. That's going to be incredibly difficult to do. And when you give that kind of assets up for a quarterback, he needs to be the guy that you can rely on. Can you rely on Deshaun Watson? If all this shit was going on while he was, this seemingly, like, best guy ever in Houston, no one said a bad thing about him. If all this shit was going on behind the scenes, can you trust him with all these assets that would require to get him not to fuck up again? Not to just, if he's guilty, and most people think he's guilty. I don't have I probably side towards that right now because it's taken so long, but who knows? But a lot of fans think he's guilty. What is the assurance that he just doesn't do this again? What is the insurance that Philly gives this draft haul for a guy that most people think is a piece of shit? 90% of people think he's a piece of shit. And then what if he ends up still just being a piece of shit? You know what I'm saying? Like, that risk of what it would cost. It's not like Philly's just giving a 7th round flyer, or it's like Michael Vick, when we got Michael Vick, no strings attached. We just signed him to a prove-it deal, and it worked out. Unlike Michael Vick, Deshaun Watson, as it stands right now, if he is guilty, there's been no repercussions. He just hasn't played football. I'm pretty sure he's still getting paid. So, it's a conversation I'm not ready to have, I think, when it comes to, I can say from a football standpoint, Deshaun Watson would be an amazing quarterback to have for Philadelphia. But it's not just a football conversation. It's, this guy is going to be our franchise. This is going to be the guy that's associated with our team. And as it stands right now, you do not want that at all associated with your team. So, I don't know. Love to hear what you guys think, man. Just get excited. I think we just get at this point, get excited that, we kept Jalen Hurts, and we get to see Jalen Hurts' development, and hopefully Howie Roseman hits home run after home run with all these draft picks. It's going to be a deep draft, and really with 3 first-round picks, whatever we decide to do with those, 2nd-round pick, 3rd-round pick, we have 5 picks for the depth of this draft. Like, you would a chance to hit 5 guys that are going to be big-time players for this Eagles franchise. Let's get excited about that and, move on from Russell Wilson. Damn.